Nobody rose to gain power as quickly as Napoleon did. In 1793, he was a brigadier general in the French Revolutionary Army. In 1796, he defeated Austria in Italy. In 1799, he did the same. In 1803, he became the first consul of France. In 1804, the first emperor of Europe, and then in 1805, he defeated Austria and Russia in a very humiliating way in the Battle of Austerlitz. Now, all these people that he defeated gave him a reputation of being someone who is actually really, really superior in terms of military strategy and the knowledge of war. But there were some people who were actually drunk on their past successes and their warrior nature, and they considered him as someone who was a fake. And the German forces were one of them, because the Prussian army was considered as the most battle tested armies of Europe, and they believed that Napoleon was a fake. And those people who were dealing with him, or those countries that he defeated, were very soft, weak, and timid, and they were very inferior in terms of military strategy. And that's why they believed that if on any given day Napoleon comes across the Prussians, he's going to be exposed as someone who is fake. And the Prussian generals were waiting for that day with a lot of intensity. But one of these generals who became a general at 50, and he was also part of the Prussian aristocracy, and he was a young general by the military standards of the Prussian army. He was making plans for the last 10 years, and he just wanted a chance to meet Napoleon and to actually beat him. In 1806, he got his chance because the Prussian king, King Wilhelm, actually decided to wage a war on France because of the Napoleon's consistent broken promises, and they wanted to teach him a lesson. And at that moment, that general got the chance to lead the Battle of Jena that was going to be waged against Napoleon. Now, what Napoleon decided that he would advance first, and then when he started moving with his army, his plan was to attack on the margins of the southern Prussia. Now, these were the news which were conveyed by the spies of the Prussia to the king and to the generals. Now, what happened was that Napoleon was moving with a short amount of soldiers, and he was about to attack southern Prussia. So what they did was they concentrated all their forces on the southern border. But after some time, news started to come that all those forces of France, which were scattered in the east, have started moving towards west, and they are heading towards southern Prussia with double the speed. And when the forces were concentrated over there, after some time, another news came. And in that news, it was said that now those forces are moving with double the speed towards the northern Prussia, and they're about to conquer Berlin. So all the generals went into that mood of panic, and they started concentrating their forces, and they started retreating so that they can save the capital from being conquered. But in that panic and in that depression, something strange happened, and that was that a very strategically significant village was conquered by the forces of France. And the general was not very happy with that, and so he ordered his troops to retake the village, and they started moving in a very disciplined way. However, the French soldiers were standing on the roofs, they were standing behind the walls, and they were killing the German forces, and they were falling like sticks. Nobody had seen anything like that before. They were not following any kinds of rules. They were not following any kinds of principles. They were actually moving on their horses with a backpack. They were not coming on the carts. They were not handling or carrying anything which was going to compromise their speed. And that's what happens when you start becoming successful. Now ask yourself, if you are a person, let's say that you're a student and you go to university and you dress in a certain kind of way that is not very high level or not very low level, but it is reasonably average. Let's say that your financial conditions start becoming worse and worse and worse, and from now on you cannot afford to wear something that you used to wear, and now you will have to wear those clothes which are going to make you go one step below the level that you're at right now, how are you going to feel? However, that person who is already below at the level at which you are going to go is not going to have any problem to wear those clothes because he is comfortable with that. So, as the more successful you become, the more difficult it gets for you to change your ways, because now you have to sustain a certain kind of lifestyle. Now you have to sustain a certain kind of social standard of living, and you can not just help it, because the level of humiliation that you're going to face as a result of actually degrading your lifestyle is going to be hugely disturbing and depressing for you. So what you do is that you start becoming comfortable with everything which has been given to you. The same thing happens to us in the jobs that we take. Once we take a job, even if we want to do some kind of a business and we know that we have a growth potential, we don't do that because we know that there is no certainty that that business is going to get successful. We know that there are no guarantees that we will have that lifestyle that we have right now. So what we do, just because that privileges, those privileges has been handed over to us on a silver platter in the form of a job, we are getting all the benefits that we need. We are getting all the insurance that we need. We are getting access to the best royal clubs of the city. And we know that we have made a network. And if we leave this job, we are going to lose all of that. And as a result of that, we actually become a slave to our wage. However, these problems are not of any significance to a Napoleon. These problems are not significant to any person who is hungry, who's ambitious, who is aggressive, and who is not afraid of staying poor or staying miserable and being humiliated for that for a while. Because he knows that his ultimate destiny is going to be so magnificent that any kind of royalty, any kind of aristocracy, or any kind of a person who is content with living a comfortable life will not even be able to match. That's how you must think if you really want to become better. Whenever you're at a level where you think you're comfortable, you should be always striving to level up. It doesn't matter how much risk is involved. At the end of the day, you have to explore your potential, and you have to think that how are you going to make things better for yourself as well as for those people who believe in you. And find those people who believe in your ability to never become content, never become satisfied with what you have. And then you just keep moving forward, upward, upward, and upward. And that's how the life should be. Never ever get satisfied with what you have, and never ever become drunk on your success. Never ever become arrogant enough to believe that you know all the answers. You don't know anything. So sustain that. Sustain that humility. Sustain that sense of ignorance. Tell yourself that there is a lot of things that you need to learn, and you're going to learn them. So instead of being arrogant about what you know, start becoming humble about what you don't know, and then dedicate your life to the pursuit of that knowledge that is not under your control, that is not in your mind yet. Till the next time, peace.